This is the true crime documentary of 18-year-old Lauren Burk, who was forced into her own car by a suspect. This happened in a college university, a place where she visits every day. Would you believe that the suspect made Lauren undress in the car and drove her around for 30 minutes? In this video, let's take a closer look at the Lauren Burk case. Welcome to True Crime with Grandpa. You're awesome and don't believe people who tell you otherwise. March 4th, 2008 started out like any other evening for Lauren Burk. She was a freshman from Marietta, Georgia, attending Auburn University. That day, she had spent some time with her boyfriend Sean in his dorm room. Around 8 p.m., Lauren left to head to the library. She was planning to meet up with her longtime friend Michael for a study session. About 30 minutes later, Michael was waiting for Lauren at the library and decided to call. Around 8:30 p.m., Lauren answered. She told him she'd actually forgotten about their plans, and then she hung up pretty abruptly. Around 9 p.m., people on Highway 147 reported hearing gunshots. They saw a young woman jump out of a moving vehicle. She was wearing nothing but socks. She was crying, gasping for air, and desperately waving for someone to help her. Someone called 911 right away. That young woman was Lauren Burk. First responders got there quickly and rushed Lauren to East Alabama Medical Center. She arrived at the hospital around 9:35 p.m. But despite all the efforts of the medical staff, Lauren didn't make it. Just a few minutes after Lauren was found on the highway, campus security discovered her car burning on the university campus. They reported it to the police immediately. But at that point, nobody knew that the woman found on the highway was Lauren. What happened to Lauren from the time she left her boyfriend's dorm till she was found on the highway is yet to be revealed by investigation. The investigation into Lauren Burk's case began immediately. When they traced the burned-out car back to Lauren's father, Jim Burk, he told them his daughter had been driving it. The officers then had to deliver some heartbreaking news. His daughter was missing. Jim immediately called his wife Vivian and started driving to Auburn. On his way, the police reached out asking Jim to meet him at the hospital to identify the body of a young woman found on the highway. At the hospital, Jim confirmed the tragic truth. It was his daughter Lauren. The autopsy showed that Lauren had been shot. The bullet had entered the back of her left shoulder at close range, gone right through both of her lungs, and came out through her upper right arm. The medical examiner also pointed out that, even though she was found wearing nothing but socks, she was not taken physical advantage of. Detectives talked to her boyfriend Sean. He said he had no clue what happened after Lauren left his dorm. They also interviewed her friend Michael, who told them about that strange phone call with Lauren. He said it sounded like she was inside a car. 2 days after the incident, on March 6th, Auburn University issued a statement reassuring about the campus safety. But students remained understandably nervous about the unsolved case. The breakthrough came on March 7, 2008, when the police conducted what appeared to be a routine traffic stop. The officer pulled over a vehicle that matched the description of a car involved in a string of recent robberies. The driver was 23-year-old Courtney Lockhart of Alabama. When the officer walked up to the car, Lockhart suddenly took off. He started a high-speed chase. During the pursuit, he opened his car door and it hit the officer's motorcycle, causing an accident. Eventually, Lockhart's car broke down, and he ran into the woods on foot. But officers tracked him down through the woods and caught him. During the arrest, officers made crucial discoveries. They found an iPod on him and a gun that contained 2 spent rounds. After he was arrested, Lockhart said something odd. He told officers, "I'm sorry, but no one would help me when I got back from Iraq." At first, he was being held on robbery charges, but investigators noticed something really important about that iPod. They realized it belonged to Lauren Burk. This connected him directly to the Lauren Burk case that had occurred just 3 days earlier. The investigators questioned him about Lauren. It was then Lockhart opened up and gave a full confession to the police, which went like this. Lockhart was a 23-year-old military veteran who had been dishonorably discharged from the Army. On the morning of March 4th, Lockhart realized he needed gas but had no cash. He He decided to drive to Auburn University's campus to rob someone. He spent most of the day on campus, leaving when he saw patrol cars and returning when they left. That evening, after Lauren left Sean's dorm to go to the library, she was walking over to her black Honda Civic. Lockhart was there on campus. When Lauren got close to her car, Lockhart approached her. He pointed a gun at her and forced her into the vehicle. Lauren was terrified, so she did what he said. She got in the passenger seat while Lockhart got behind the wheel. Lauren handed him $200 in cash and begged him to just leave. But Lockhart had other plans in mind. With one hand on the steering wheel and his other hand pointing the gun at Lauren, he drove away from campus. Once they left the university grounds, he made a horrible demand. He ordered Lauren to take off all her clothes. At first, Lauren didn't want to, but she eventually did what he asked. He made her do this so she wouldn't try anything or make any sudden moves. For about 30 minutes, Lockhart drove Lauren around Auburn. They passed bars, stores, and restaurants downtown. This whole time, Lauren was sitting in the passenger seat completely. During this terrifying drive, Lockhart talked to her about his unemployment and his personal problems. Lauren, showing incredible composure under unimaginable circumstances, tried to convince Lockhart to stop what he was doing. She even offered to help him find a job and told him she knows someone who can get him a job. As they drove along Alabama Highway 147, Lauren's phone rang. It was her friend Michael, calling to check on her whereabouts for their study session. Lockhart allowed her to answer, but demanded she make up a story. Lauren was forced to tell Michael she'd forgotten about their plans, and then she hung up abruptly. As Lockhart became increasingly frustrated and agitated, Lauren leapt from the moving car, and Lockhart shot her. The same moment witnesses later reported to 911. Meanwhile, Lockhart took off from the scene, leaving Lauren on the highway. He drove her Honda Civic to a gas station and used her stolen credit card to buy gas. Then he drove to the parking lot on Auburn's campus. He poured gasoline inside Lauren's car and tried to set it on fire to get rid of the evidence. His first attempt didn't work, so he left to find some fire starter and came back with a Burger King bag. This time, he got the car to catch fire. After successfully setting the car on fire, Lockhart once again used Lauren's credit card at a Kroger in Georgia before throwing it out his car window and returning to Alabama. In his confession, Lockhart claimed he never meant to hurt Lauren. He only wanted to rob her, but when Lauren tried to jump out of the moving car, he accidentally pressed the. However, ballistics experts confirmed that the gun used required significant pressure to. This made Lockhart's claims highly unlikely, especially for someone with military training. And also the autopsy showed that Lauren was shot from just a few inches away, right in her back. This made it pretty clear that he shot her intentionally, unlike Lockhart's claims. During his confession, Lockhart also admitted to a bunch of other crimes he'd committed in the days before Lauren's incident. He confessed to robbing several women in Columbus, Georgia. In one of those robberies, he even pointed a gun at a 3-year-old and threatened the mother to give him her purse. Ballistics testing confirmed that the found in Lauren's car was from the found during Lockhart's arrest. With this physical evidence, witness statements, Lauren's iPod in his possession, and Lockhart's own confession, investigators took Lockhart into custody. Lauren Burk's incident shocked Auburn University and her hometown of Marietta, Georgia. The university held a memorial service for the beloved freshman. Auburn University set up a scholarship fund in Lauren's memory. The tragedy also sparked important conversations about campus safety across the country. Courtney Lockhart went to trial in November 2010, pleading not guilty and not guilty by reason of mental defect, with his defense team arguing he suffered from untreated PTSD from his Iraq service. Despite prosecutors seeking the penalty, the jury unanimously recommended life in prison without parole. However, in a controversial decision that drew national attention, the judge overrode the jury's unanimous recommendation and sentenced Lockhart to death. Alabama was one of only 3 states in the U.S. allowing judicial override of jury sentencing decisions. And in this case, the judge based his judgment on Lockhart's crime spree before Lauren's incident. The crime spree details were kept away from the jury during the trial. Lockhart remains on row at Holman Correctional Facility, continuing to appeal his sentence. Lauren's parents filed a lawsuit against Auburn University, claiming the 2004 merger of campus police with city police led to inadequate security. But Alabama's Board of Adjustment denied their claim in 2014. Courtney Lockhart's primary motive was financial desperation. He needed gas money. His confession confirmed that he'd been walking around campus all day looking for someone to rob. However, the crime escalated beyond simple robbery when he forced Lauren to and drove her around for 30 minutes, suggesting his intentions became more sinister. The random nature of the crime confirms that Lauren was simply an unfortunate victim of opportunity rather than a targeted individual. His statement to officers that no one would help me when I got back from Iraq reveals his frustration with lack of veteran support. But that doesn't excuse the terrible choices he made. Lockhart might have been dealing with untreated PTSD, but that doesn't give him any right to hurt anyone. What he did was something easily preventable, yet we are exploring this case today. What happened to Lauren Burk is the kind of tragedy that makes you question how safety can vanish in a blink. This case reminds us to always stay alert even in familiar places. Lauren's kindness in trying to calm Lockhart, even offering to get him a job, tells us so much about the kind of person she was. She showed real compassion and real bravery, even in her final moments. Comment your thoughts on this case below. Help the channel grow by clicking on the like and hype, and be sure to subscribe. It helps the channel to get into the algorithm. Hope to see you again.